Hey, what's up YouTube? It's abluegolfball here today with another Pokemon TCG Online video, and today I have a deck suggestion from Dark Poison 64. He wanted to see a Ninetales and Venomoth deck, and I'm going to combine it with Mew EX, so let's get to it. We have Ninetales here. It is a 90 HP Fire-type Pokemon. It's got the ability Bright Look. Basically, when you play this Pokemon onto your bench to evolve one of your Pokemon, then you can do a Catcher effect, or a Lysander effect, however you want to call it. It's got the attack Hexed Flame. This does 50 more damage for each special condition on the effect the defending Pokemon. So the strategy here is a little bit difficult to pull off. What you're going to have to do is do 2-hit knockouts. But if we can pull it off with a 1-hit knockout using Hypnotoxic Laser, let's say we can get them to be poisoned and asleep plus Muscle Band, we can actually Hex Flame for a nice solid number of 170. But if we're playing against, let's say for example, like a Wailord EX, we could do something like a Noxious Scales here with the Venomoth, also 90 HP, and it's a grass type. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned and confused, and it does 50 damage. And of course, if you have a Muscle Band, then you can do 70 damage plus poison from the Verbeek City Gym, that's 100 damage, and they're confused. Then coming back into your turn, that's 130 damage total. And then, of course, if we're using Mew to copy that attack in turn 1, or turn 1 of the attack, and then turn 2 of the attack, if you can pull it off, or, meaning when you just 2-hit attack, what I'm referencing. But when you can attack again, let's say you're going against a Wailord, that's 130 on the Wailord, you can hit the Wailord and finish him off with copying the Hex Flame for 170, and so that's pretty solid, right? I mean, it's still a 2-hit attack. It's kind of difficult to kind of like do Noxious Scales and not have a lot of damage onto your opponent already, because if you're doing 50 damage plus poison and stuff like that, then you're already putting the hurt on your opponent. So but the goal is going to be 2-hit knockouts. It's going to try to get them to be poisoned and confused. So once they're poisoned and confused, most likely if they can't retreat, then they're just going to end up hurting themselves. Or if they flip heads, they will knock out the Venomoth or something like that. So I don't know. We're going to try to pull it off. See what we can do to just be an annoying deck and try to play the the condition game. Anyways, for the A-Spec, choice is going to be a Dowsing Machine, so we're going to be playing one of these. 4 Hypnotoxic Lasers, as I mentioned before, and 4 Love Balls, since everything is under 90 HP, besides the Mew EX. 1 star on the Megaphone, we got 1 Switch, 2 VS Seekers, and then the support line we have Colress, Lysander, and Lysander Trump card, 3 Ends, 2 Professor Bird's Observation, 4 Junipers, and 1 Teammates. Since our Pokemon are so weak, we have to play Teammates, and we have 2 Verbeek City Gym, and I mentioned that because we're not playing a lot, since we're going to be playing Ninetales with Barrier Shrine, being able to lock that Verbeek City Gym into place, and that kind of helps us out pretty well. We have the Muscle Band here, and then we also have Silver Bangle. We have a couple of these. We have 4 of these because, since Mew EX is actually a Psychic Pokemon, but the nice thing is that Venomoth is a Grass Pokemon, which uses Grass Energy. And then finally, the Ninetales is a Fire Pokemon, so the Blend Energy works really well. And if you guys didn't catch it yet, this is going to be an expanded deck. I have Level Ball, and I have this Blend Energy, so obviously it's going to be an expanded deck. Yeah, so 4 of those, 4 DCEs, 4 Rainbow Energies, and 1 Fire Energy. You never know when that can come in handy. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and check out this deck in action. I'm not too sure how it's going to pull off, but we'll have to find out. This is going to be the Ninetales and Venomoth deck here on Pokemon TCG Online. And we're playing against Egghead 1012. And I'm going to go ahead and flip for heads. And no, it ends up being tails. And we're not going to get to go first. That way we can't evolve first. It's my opponent's turn. And we'll have to wait and see. My opponent's playing some kind of Rhyperior deck with Rare Candy and Strong Energy. Alright, so we do start off kind of strong here. We get a Vulpix that we can't really do anything with. In our first turn, we kind of sit there and look at the Landorus. We will get hit with a Shout of Power, that's for sure. But what we can do is maybe evolve in turn 2, unless my opponent plays an N, but I'm looking forward to evolving in turn 2. We see my opponent play a Pokemon Fan Club. And this is the struggle here, the struggle of not going first with this kind of deck. We even see a Miltank, we even see a Machop. And oh boy, at least we don't see that Rhyperior line getting going here. We see the Landorus with the energy drop. And we do see a Vulpix here. I'm going to go ahead and just power the Vulpix on the bench. I'm going to keep everything in play. And let's see, I know this one's going to get hit. And I don't want to work with one that's already damaged. And so we just kind of have to bide our time and kind of wait and see what we can top deck. If we can top deck a supported, that would be fabulous. And oh boy, my opponent gets a Karina here. We see a couple other cards there. We see the rare candies and the Rhydon, things like that. We see another energy drop on the Landorus, so that's a little scary. We could see a Sky Lariat, and that could be very dangerous for us. I don't want to deal with that. We do get a Juniper, so you know what? Let's go ahead. I'm gonna not live stander, but bring out the Machoke. It's got a 2 retreat. We could bring out the Miltank as well, but let's go with this here. I'm gonna go ahead and play this here, and we'll probably just let's see here. I'm going to go with the Juniper, and let's see, we get another one of these guys. We don't get anything in particular, so let's go ahead. We're going to retreat, and we'll just go with the Hex Flame. Let's hopefully my opponent doesn't get a switch or something like that. I don't want to get Sky Lariat and get a one-hit knockout. That would be very devastating. Oh, never mind. We could see a switch right here, and we could get Sky Lariated in the face. My opponent will evolve into the Machamp, and that would actually hit us for 110 damage. And that's the problem with Ninetales. The HP is just so weak that a little bit difficult to try to keep the Ninetales in shape. And never mind, my opponent goes for an escape rope, so I don't mind that at all. We can see the Landorus come into play. We can see an energy drop onto the Landorus. And we could get hit for a Sky Lariat, or unless my opponent wants to, my opponent can go for something else. But we see a Tool Scrapper as well, so that's a little inconvenient. We do have an N. I don't want to play the N, but I have a feeling that we're going to have to, because there's a lot of energies that I'm going to be discarding that I don't want to discard, but we're going to end up discarding. And might as well, okay, let's play the N. We get the Hypnotoxic Laser. Let's see if we flip heads. We don't flip heads, but that's still going to be a knockout. Let's go ahead. I'm going to get, let's see, I want to get the Venomoth into play. That's pretty good. And you know what? I'm going to hang on to this Ninetales. Will evolve in the next turn. Let's go for the Hex Flame. And that should be 70 plus poison damage. Never mind. My opponent needs an energy drop, and that would actually knock us out. But we do have the Ninetales here, which we can play. Miscalculated there, but if my opponent knocks us out, my opponent will get knocked out from the poison damage, so that's kind of a 1-for-1 trade there. Ooh, we see the Groudon EX here hit the field as well. Too bad we don't have any grass Pokemon. Oh, we do have a grass Pokemon. That's right. And there we go. My opponent hits us for the knockout. My opponent will knock out as well, and that is a ton of energy for us there. But we have the Professor Birch's observation that we can use. Let's go ahead, and I want to bring out the... let's go ahead. We'll bring out the Machamp. I think the Machamp, or let's just bring out the Groudon. Let's start working, chipping away at him. And let's see here. I'm gonna play. We should have some more DCEs. Let's go ahead. I want to guarantee some damage output here. So let's go for the Hypnotoxic Laser. We flip Tails, man. And we flip Tails again. We are just not in luck here. Let's go ahead and if we can get the Venomoth, sure, why not? Let's just get the Venomoth into play, and we even get the Muscle Band here. So let's go for the Hex Flame. We hit for 90 plus poison damage, and going back into my opponent's turn, that would actually knock out the Groudon, so we don't even need to attack. But we'll have to wait and see if my opponent does anything else. We have another Professor Birch's observation here, which is not very promising. We see the little hippo over there. We see the Rhyhorn over here as well. But if I can knock out the Groudon, that would be spectacular. My opponent doesn't have any energies on his side of the field. The Landorus is out with 3 energies in the discard pile. So we have to wait and see who my opponent wants to invest in. And we see a strong energy played onto the Rhyhorn. The Rhyhorn will need another energy to do takedown, to do 60 damage, or 80 damage actually with the Machamp over here. So I might have to consider that, and let's take a look here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 energies, 5 energies in the discard pile. We see a Karina here. So that means we still have 1 more blend energy, 2 more rainbow energies, and 3 more DCEs. So we've got options for us. I mean, hopefully we can do that. But let's take a look here. We have the Professor Birch. When we flip Tails again, oh man, we just can't do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to retreat into here, and I'm going to go for the Dizzy Wind. My opponent's Groudon will get knocked out from the poison damage, and so that's good news for us. That means my opponent, when they try to play a trainer card from his or her hand, they have to flip a coin. And if it's Tails, then it takes no effect. So that's actually a nice touch right there. My opponent can still put some damage onto the Venomoth. If my opponent tries to play a Muscle Band, my opponent would need to flip a coin for that, and that would kind of help us not get knocked out. But we see the Miltank here. We could definitely see something like an energy drop that would do 100 damage there, or 80 damage if we see a muscle band. But again, my opponent would need to play flip for heads for that. And okay, that's it. Let's take a look here. I'm going to just play this here. And let's go for the Hypnotoxic Laser. And I'm going to end up playing Juniper. So a little bit of a problem here. We could hit the Miltank. Or we could not. So let's go ahead and I'm going to get another Vulpix into play. We could get the Ninetales here. I can actually probably... oh, this is a tricky question. So you know what? We're going to go for it. Let's just go for the Noxious Scales. Put the Miltank into confusion. And so if my opponent wants to flip heads to attack, by all means, go for it. If not, my opponent will knock out our Venomoth, and we will get knocked out anyways. And if we get knocked out by an attack, we can play the teammates for the Hypnotoxic Laser. My opponent confuses himself and gets knocked out. We see the Hypnotoxic Laser, and we can very much so do that. Now, what we need to do is flip heads. If we can flip heads out, I would definitely retreat into the Ninetales, and we'll take out the Machamp. So let's go, let's see here. You know what, let's just take out the Machamp. I think the Machamp is worthy of getting knocked out here. Or we take out the Rhydon, since that's the one with the energy drop. But you know what, I think we'll go with the Machamp. And let's go ahead, we'll flip for heads, even better. Let's go and we'll retreat. I'm going to retreat with the DCE since I have a couple of these. And I'm going to play it onto the Mew. Let's go for the Hex Flame. And there it is, 140 damage, knocking that out. We get a Muscle Band we can play onto the Mew EX. My opponent here would need a DCE to do Resistance Desert. That's pretty interesting. Otherwise, I'm not too sure. Okay, my opponent does get a DCE. And during your opponent's next turn, prevent all effects of attacks, excluding damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX. Well, good thing we don't need to attack with Pokemon EX. Okay, ooh, we even get our Stadium countered. Our Ninetales should be able to survive the turn, getting hit for only 60. We don't see a Muscle Band, so I feel pretty comfortable not getting knocked out. If we can top deck another Hypnotoxic Laser, which I highly doubt. We have 3 right here in the discard pile. We could play for a Colress and draw 4 cards, but I'm not feeling too lucky. Otherwise, we can definitely promote the Venomoth and go for another Noxious Scales. That could definitely help our needs as well. And there it is. There is the 60 damage. Our Mew is of no effect right now. We'll go ahead. We'll counter that Stadium. I'm going to play this right here. Let's go for the Colress. And we get another Venomoth. We do get a Juniper as well. So I'm going to go ahead. We'll just retreat. I'm going to play the Lifestance Trump card if need be. But let's go for the Noxious Scales, hitting for 100. And with the poison damage, that would do the trick. I forgot we had the weakness advantage there. And we will take the win. So this is a really short video. I don't have too much time as of right now. So I only got to squeeze in a little video here just to play around with the Venomoth and Ninetales deck, brought to you guys by Dark Poison 64. So give him a high five. And since we get one, high fives all around. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any other deck suggestions or deck ideas. Shoot them my way, and I'll see to them if I can build them. You guys take care. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.